Hello, welcome to the process. My name is Dr. John Bush. This is lesson 67. This is my visual landscapes, league scale positional usages, part two. I basically just went alphabetical and in lesson 66 and gave you the first group of teams. This will be the last. Everything's designed to help you win your fantasy football drafts. I'll roll through this fairly quickly. Just wanted you to get and develop a touchstone on kind of the overall positions and their usages compared across the league. And I may not have been uh, clear on that in lesson 66, but I started thinking, and when I said a team in 2020 went down 2% in using their running back, we don't know what does that mean versus the league. In other words, if everybody in the league is 2% down, it won't happen. But if it was, then that would mean that was an average year. So I tried to manipulate the metrics and look at across the league. So now when I give you the visual bar graph, the up or down above zero is above the league average or below, so you can get a sense of how that team performs. So you might want to go back to lesson 66 with now this in mind. Sometimes I'll get going and forget probably what I should have not forgotten. That's what happens being 30 something years as a professor. That does occur. So this is the Chargers, and when I said scaled usages, this right here means across the league. So we can interpret the quarterback as it went up 0.07 compared to the rest of the league. So it's above average. It's above average. 1.5 is probably nicely above average. 2.9 is below average. So the Chargers had a problem with the wide receivers. So are they going to correct that this year? Don't know, but there certainly was an issue when we compare that across the league. So if you look at that, the purple line is meant to be zero. So above, 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 and then below. So this is if the team has an issue coming into 21, this is it. So you need to use this now to, especially in the depth of the running, the wide receivers, pretty much after Keenan Allen, just what do we got there? Okay, this has concerns for that depth in that position. Should you kind of downgrade some of those? Okay, I mean everybody's talking up Mike Williams. I'm not biting. Part of it is this metric. There are other reasons, but this gives you a view. The Rams, QB, RB down, tight end, wide receivers up. So the rushing was an issue, and they went out and got another journeyman RB. So is Jacobs really that strongly entrenched here? That would give me concern, especially in dynasty. And the quarterback didn't do what they needed to do, but and they were pretty much throwing and passing. So it looks like a pass happy Ram team. So I would think some depth in the tight ends and wide receivers, since this is compared to average, probably looks pretty good, right? 2.1, 2.5%. So I would be a little bit more bullish on those depth of players and a little bearish on the running backs for sure. Uh, so just a touchstone for you to start thinking. The Raiders really found their tight end. Can you see it? Yeah. and really neglected their wide receivers. Their quarterback was pretty much average. So, can and will defenses try to shut Waller down? Does that open up an opportunity? At 9% across the league, that is embarrassing. That is bad. And I would be very cautious about taking many wide receivers, if any, from the Raiders. I know people are, squawking and talking. Here's what happened last year. It should at least give you pause. You should not blunder in and think things are going to magically change. Okay, just saying. Okay. Miami, Gesicki, and forget your passing to your wide receivers. -6% is poor. So again, almost the same situation as Las Vegas. Very much similar kind of situation there. It intrigues me that teams end up looking a lot, groups look alike. And so that can help you remember the data and maybe, do your plans on the Raiders and Miami. I'm definitely bullish on Gesicki and Devon Parker and all. I'm a little bit concerned here. Well, they got the new rookie phenom in there. Don't know. Uh, he may wake up towards the end of the season. Maybe that's a trade for, is maybe the wide receivers wake up if the tight end is handled. Don't know. I think you'll know early on whether defenses are shutting down the tight end avenue. If so, that maybe will give opportunities to the running backs and the wide receivers a little bit. So you may have to wait to the beginning of the season to try to wheegee out how this is going to flow. But right now, this is what we saw last year. Minnesota, it's Dalvin Cook's show, and Thielen and whatnot. Was it Jefferson? I think you'll get what you probably got last year. I think they're trying to be balanced and with a little bias to Cook, which is probably how I would approach it as well. So just be aware of that. New England really uses its running backs. Trouble is, it's committee time, and it's hard to guess who's what. They did get Burkhead out of there, but they added a rookie, so that adds confusion. They did try to get Jonnu Smith and Henry tied in. Maybe they're going to try to make a push there. If they make a push and try to do more passing out of Cam, which I don't know what we're going to get, then the running backs, something's going to go down somewhere. You either get, so scenario one, you get the running back, you get 2020 back, and adding what they added didn't help, or it shifts more to balance and the running backs pay a price. So you got a committee and a potential downside. I think I would want some bargains if I was drafting deep running. But James White, he's good, but I just don't know how much upside he has. So that's kind of how I would view it right now. New Orleans, Breeze is gone. Kamara run the show. Forget your wide receiver. So if having Winston, does that change this equation? And now we're passing. Kamara is such that he can flip to short passes, so I don't know. It's Murray I would worry about, and I think there's been kind of Murray's had is a lower ADP this year, and that may be why is people are concerned about his role with a pass-happy offense. And of course, having Hill as a wildcat quarterback can also change the calculus that this team is running. So there's some questions here. I think Kamara's safe, and if I was getting Murray, it would be late. I think Thomas, you've got to assume he'll get his with Winston. I know people are kind of down on him, but I'm going with it. They got rid of Cook. I'm not as the tight end. I'm not convinced. Was it Troutman? I got to see it to believe it. So that's kind of how I'm viewing that. Cautious on the depth here, plays at these positions. The Giants. Giants have a tight end, and they certainly used it in 2020 compared to the average. It went up about 2.6% across the league. So they had some success, a little bit more balanced. So we may end up getting what we got last year. The only thing is they didn't have Barkley. So if Barkley moves this up, does this go down? Does this stay the same? So there's still some questions here about how this all plays out. Of course, that's why there's ADPs and drafting. There's always questions. It's always levels of uncertainty here, and we have to draft and make decisions in the swirl of uncertainty. So I think I lean towards increased RB production. Ingram probably goes down, and the wide receivers stay nearly the same. Even if they got Galladay, maybe Galladay's the only play. He'll get his, and Shepard and Slayton maybe take a regression. Keep your eyes open for how this plays. Okay. The Jets were all about passing, and they've got Crowder, Mims, and people are high on the wide receivers. They do not know the running back. There's controversy. Some people are saying the young player comes in. I don't know, given the pass happy nature here, that we get a lot of play from the running backs. So I would be cautious. People are talking it up. This is what they did last year, passing to the wide receivers. So I think you can take a little depth here and still probably come out okay. 46% usage is spectacular. 7% across the league, nice. So I'm definitely buying in on the depth plays, and I think you can get them, Crowder and Mims, and those fairly late. So those may be some good tickets to punch, especially in best ball late. Philly loves their tight ends. I'm not sure who's going to be left standing. Ertz or who, the running backs went down, the wide receivers went down, quarterback had to run and throw to the tight ends. Short passing, that just doesn't seem like Philadelphia is going to do that again. I just don't know how they can win the East by doing the same thing. They're going to have to get this or that going, and right now it's unclear as to which position gets going. Okay, I would be cautious. I think the tight end would probably be a late play for me. Maybe the cheapest tight end if both are there. Pittsburgh, all about the passing, almost 12% across. Oh my goodness, that may be tops. Nice depth. I think you got 3, maybe even 4. Washington is the 4th. I think you can get deep in best ball, and I think you can draft deep in redrafts. Connor's gone. I have no clue what they're going to do here. Tight end, I'm ignoring the tight end. So maybe get a little play with the running back. But right now, this is kind of looks like passing. What's going to confound and help Pittsburgh is you've got some quality players, so it's hard to cover everybody. Seattle passed. Wilson ran a little bit more. Carson had a down year. The tight ends had a down year. I'm not sure we don't get this same in 2021. Okay, kind of almost a ho hum view of this team. So I think I will expect what I got last year and play accordingly. That I will take Lockett and Metcalf. Seems fine. Wilson seems fine. I would be cautious. I wouldn't reach for Carson and certainly would not reach for the tight ends. Not, no, no, no. San Francisco is the rookie quarterback going to take over from Jimmy G? I don't know. San Francisco's always loved RBs, Oster, Wilson, all the rest of them. They have a nice committee, just trying to figure out who's on top of that. And of course, Kittle was injured. Hopefully he's back, so we may see those two positions leading the show, and they just try to keep the wide receivers in to make the defense honest and take a shot. I'm not sure how deep I'm going in San Francisco wide receivers. I'm probably pretty cautious how deep I would go there. I would tend to fish in the running back pool a little bit. I think Kittle's fine. I don't know if he's the second or third or fourth play. I think Waller's and Kelsey seem to be who the FFPC people like. So I wouldn't reach for Kittle. But if he lands in your lap in the late second round, okay, take him. Tampa Bay, Gronk and the wide receivers, their running back was not good. And it looks like they've got a committee, brought in some more. Bernard is the third. Looks like they just brought him for depth. I think we're going to get 2020 all over again. It worked last year. Why not this year? So expect a lot of tight end and wide receivers, and Brady sitting there peppering them with targets and run a little bit to wake folks up. Tennessee, don't know if the tight end is going to maintain that 3.4% with Jonnu. He's gone. Wide receivers took a dive. Henry was the play. I think Henry's going to be running the ground. I think the tight ends regress, and I think the wide receivers move up a little bit, but still minus almost 5%. I wouldn't get too deep in the Tennessee wide receivers. I know they brought in Julio. I think I'll let Julio come to me. I won't reach for him. A.J. Brown seems to be the logic, kind of like the Calvin Ridley of this team. And, of course, Julio may be the 1B there. You may be able to get a bargain at Julio, but I think that name is going to shake folks up, and you're not probably going to get as much bargain. And Tennessee's at 34% activity on wide receivers, and I like to see above 40 when I really like to see that wide receiver depth, and I feel confident about drafting deep. I'm not seeing that here, but I am worried about that. So if that goes down, two scenarios, this goes up or that goes up, or each go up a little. Tight end goes down. Washington, Gibson, McKissick, running. I'm finding McKissick late in best balls. I'm taking him all day long. The tight end, Logan, above average. Okay, I would take him as a tight end one streamer late. Wide receivers went down, but we've got Fitzpatrick, who's a gunslinger. So I think that Fitzpatrick will be using the rushing to set up for some long bombs. So it could be feast or famine for Washington wide receivers. I would be cautious how deep I went. Okay, I would not just, McLaurin might be it for me. I don't think I'm going to invest depth. Again, Logan Thomas, fine if I'm going late tight end. Gibson's fine, and to me, I'm getting McKissick in best balls. Fitzpatrick could surprise, so he's worth your time as well. Okay, that's my 10-cent tour. Again, looking across the league. These numbers are across the league now. And I think hopefully you can use this to enlighten your journey along the way. At least that's the idea. Okay, coming back. More lessons. Classroom never lets you off for vacation. Vacation is for civilians. Okay, we're fantasy football players. Okay, we're not civilians. Okay, so we take a day off to recharge your batteries and come back and hit this hard. Okay, let the civilians frolic and have the one-page draft sheet on top of their case of beer at draft time. Okay, that's what in fact, help buy them a couple of fists and get them really going. Lubricate their picks, as it were. Okay, come on back. This is Dr. Bush for the process.